up, my fellow mobile gamers? In today's video, we are going over the best classes for PvP, PvE, and just in general, a class overview for the brand new MMORPG Ragnarok Origin. Before we get started, subscribe to the channel, notification bell so you don't miss a video when we live stream. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, game, whatever. For this last gamer standing contest, we are not doing too well, guys. I'm gonna have the link to vote for me in the contest down below in the description box in the comment section. Please go vote for me every day until November 18th. Remember, the winner gets a cash prize of $25,000. I plan to give 5,000 of that away to the viewers. All right, we also have to give a huge shout out to our friend on Discord, Bins. He helped us come up with this information. I participated in the beta event, so did he. So I was communicating with him, getting some insight and some suggestions on his take of what he thought about the best classes and stuff like that. All right, so first up we have the Swordsman, which goes into the Knight. Swordsman / Knight is pretty much your melee damage dealer. There is another class which goes into the Crusader class, but I don't believe those are unlocked for us yet. Hopefully in the future we will have that ability to switch to that job. Crusader is more of a tanky way to play. The Knight is really good early game. Also has an ability that taunts the enemy. All around is a really good early game damage dealer as well as a solid tank. For PvE, this is going to be a highly recommended class because everybody is going to need a Knight in a dungeon run or in a party. Also, the Knight is one of the fairly easier classes to play. So if you're fairly new to the game or new to mobile gaming or just MMOs in general, then this is a good class that I would suggest for you to pick. Pretty solid for PvP as well. Not amazing, but not horrible either. Next up, we got the Acolyte, which goes into the Priest. This is going to be your main healing class. Highly recommended for PvE. I would say the Acolyte Priest is probably the best PvE class in the game above the Swordsman Knight. So just keep that in mind. Everyone's going to need a healer. I mean, that goes hand in hand with pretty much any game that you play that has classes that heal. You also have buffs for your teammates, can increase some of their stats. You can heal. You can pretty much do everything. You can also be a tanky healer and actually put out some decent damage. I would say the Priest is one of the strongest classes in the game. Also for PvP, pretty good, not bad either. When building out this class, you're going to want to focus on intelligence, dexterity, and vitality if you want to have a tanky healer build. Next up, we have the Mage, which goes into the Wizard. This is your basic magic damage dealer. You have fire damage, you have water damage, and you have a nice AoE thunderstorm, which does thunder damage as well. Pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty similar to any other mage that you find in any other game. You're going to want to stay in the back to do damage, focusing on building out your intelligence and dexterity again as well, so that way your SP doesn't fall too far behind. Your SP is kind of like your magic power. One thing that I kind of don't like, or one thing that I should say is somewhat of a drawback, is the Wizard has some longer cast times for their abilities as opposed to some of the other classes. Like if you try and activate a firebolt or a cold bolt or something, you'll notice it takes some time before the character actually does the attack, as opposed to other classes where as soon as you click it, they instantly do the attack. For PvE, absolutely another amazing class. Again, though, there's probably going to be a lot of people that pick the Mage just because it's a raw damage dealer. For PvP, I would say it's not the greatest. I personally would just say I would stay away from the Mage if you're strictly going for PvP content. Next up, we got the Thief into the Assassin class. Again, very similar to a lot of the other assassin classes that you would see in similar games like this. You're going to want to focus on your strength and agility, which means you're going to be doing a lot of melee physical damage, and increasing your agility means you will increase your attack speed, so that way you can just attack faster. Another thing, though, is that the assassin class focuses a lot on poisoning our enemies. They also have a sneak ability, which kind of makes you go invisible, and then you can catch your opponent off guard. So there's a lot of tricks to it. I would call it like the trickster class, because there's a lot of cool little features like that you can do, and you're going to be moving around a lot, trying to just annoy your opponent as much as possible. Not bad for PvE, pretty good for PvP, because you can do a lot of crit damage. Next up, we have my favorite, the merchant into the blacksmith. A pretty interesting character, because it doesn't necessarily do a lot of damage early on, and in fact it almost feels like it's not a class at all, just because its early game is pretty poor. But late game is when the blacksmith is an absolute beast. It just destroys everything. Extremely good in PvP. I would say the blacksmith is probably the #1 PvPer for late game. Once you get your blacksmith leveled up, you also have two different builds. You have a cart build, which is like a melee, and then you also have a long-ranged build as well. One of my favorite things about the blacksmith, though, is that you have the ability to get rich. You can buy things in the market at a discounted price, and you can sell things for more than what they're actually worth, which is probably my favorite part about the blacksmith. I personally went with the blacksmith as my starting class because I just think it's amazing. It has a lot of utility. Again, though, weak early game, but late game, man, we're gonna be demolishing people. We're gonna have tons of monies. All right, and finally we got the archer, your typical ranged damage dealer. You shoot arrows. Gonna focus on dexterity and agility, so that way you can shoot faster, increasing your attack speed. This is a class that we suggest that if you are a whale or you're going to be spending money, then this is a great class for you to pick, just because early game the archer / hunter, archer into hunter, can be pretty weak early game until you get really good equipment. Once you get a really good equipment, the archer hunter is an amazing class. Does probably one of the most damage in the game. Late game, you can build out the sharpshooting class, and you just are literally a god tier damage dealer. Really good for PvE. Also really good for PvP. But again, overall, I would personally suggest, if you want to be a PvP god, I would go with the merchant / blacksmith, the merchant into the blacksmith first. Then I would probably suggest the archer into the hunter for later game. And then finally, I would probably say the acolyte into the priest, along with like the swordsman into the knight. Those are also really good ones as well. For PvE content, you're going to want to focus on the swordsman, knight, the acolyte, priest. But that is it for today, folks. I hope you guys and girls enjoyed the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll probably make some more videos on this game. Stay happy, stay safe, my friends. This game's pretty awesome. Enjoy it. I'll see y'all very soon in another video. Peace out.